give a bit, so as you receive more. As he says, if you do one good, you receive 10 times more in different ways. And if you do good for others, whatever goodness they receive, also we receive it. You receive it too. So a helper of other people, whatever they have been helped with, also will receive the same benefit. What a divine generosity. ما ودعك ربك وما قلى. Surah والضحى والليل إذا سجى. Allah says you have never been left alone. Don't ever think you are here or you're by yourself. There is the divine light in you. Never alone. Allah is with you wherever you are. And then Allah describes us the ruh, and He says it is from my command. And then He says, and I created you all of creation, from the same ruh, from the same pattern, in multiples as we are. And then it says, it reminds us about the role of the aql. It says, كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهَ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. He will show you His signs, so you develop your intellect. A child has no intellect. A 4-year-old is completely obsessed. They all the time say no. So if you want them to do what you want, reverse it. Say, I don't want you to eat, he says, I will eat, and so on, you see. So it is that rebelliousness due to the closeness of the nafs to the ruh. The ruh is free. So this young soul wants to be free. It doesn't know, it's not being groomed. As you groom them as they grow, then we realize that no, this was my ego. So I say, astaghfirullah, I want to be at all times guided, not misguided. So Allah Azza wa Jalla reminds us here, it is, look at the signs. So you develop your intellect. You become aql. Aql is from the root word containment. It is from an Arabian habit. Nearly a third of these terms are pre-Islamic terms, and they had to do with the people of the desert. When there was a blood feud between tribes, and in order to stop it, they bring a number of camels as blood money. And this camel caravan for blood money was called ma'qal. Now ma'qal means imprisonment. The Middle East is full of it. You see, we have an aqal is the Arabic headgear called aqal. And the camel used to be made to sit with that sort of tied thing on its leg, hobbled, so as it can sit. So you can make sense out of it. Otherwise the camel is a very, difficult creature. So Allah wants us to evolve and groom the nafs, so the aql, the intellect, rises. So you refer to your intellect, so that later you begin to refer to your heart. Then He defines the heart. He says, it is all to لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم ولكن يؤاخذكم بما كسبت قلوبكم. There are many ayahs describing the qalb. Inshallah, tomorrow we will take only the ayahs to do with the human self, to show you how wonderful this cosmology is. This evening I am just skimming across the whole panorama of the Quran to show you what a package we have revealed to us, and how amazing it is and how easy it is if we come to it with the right courtesy and humility. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. You can't touch it unless you come pure. Come pure with an open heart, not knowing anything. Allah will tell you what you need to know. Then again, Allah says, I will not hold you accountable for what you have occasionally said as nonsense. So what matters is what your heart has earned, and you restate in the heart. إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. All what matters is to come to your Creator with a wholesome heart. There are many descriptions of the diseases of the heart. There are no less than 9 different categories. A heart that has been locked, a heart that is undercover, a heart that is sick, and. So Allah tells us that this is the key purpose, for you to grow into being heartful, not fanciful. Nowadays people talk about my heart tells me. You don't know what they are talking about. Because the inner part of the heart is also described in the Quran, the inner kernel, as fu'ad. There are 5 ayats, one of which gives us the whole story. مَا كَذَّبَ الْفُؤَادُ مَا رَأَى. Your inner heart, your inner fu'ad will never lie to you. You see, مَا كَذَّبَ. So, إِنَّ الْسَمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. That is the source of us. If you have access to your inner heart, where there is no background noise, as we always hear background noise in this world, then you hear the message. But for that you need to be single-pointed. You need to be in the mihrab. You need to be in a fighting spirit against all nonsense. And the inner sense will reveal itself to you. So then we have the key issue of action and knowledge. They are never separate. ألم تر أن الله يسبح له من في السماوات والأرض والطير صافات كل قد علم صلاته وتسبيحه. Whatever there is in existence knows how to perform its ibadah, its connection. It receives signals, whether it is from the sun direction or the wind direction or electromagnetic fields. Before the tsunami, most of the animals have run out, and so on. They felt the vibration before we clumsy human beings had any notion. Thousands of people were still roasting their skin on these beaches, and the elephants already an hour before had run to higher grounds. There are these senses. We have lost those capacities as we evolve more and more with our mind and our mindfulness and our cleverness. The simple beings thousands of years ago had these, if you like, abilities to receive these vibrations. You see. The elephant's foot, they lift their front foot. They can pick up easily up to 70 miles away the sound of an elephant. They've got within that foot subtle, if you like, nervous system that receives the messages, deciphers them, and they know what's going on. And here we need these clumsy cell phones that only makes noise and disturbs you wherever you are, even in the bathroom. So Allah Azza wa Jal says, كُلٌّ يَعْمَلُ عَلَى شَاكِلَتِهِ. Everybody acts according to as they are. That's why you don't need to look at people's biography. See what they are doing, what is the important thing in their life, and you know who they are. In the outer sense, see what they eat, the room where they live. That's how it is. You can see their priorities. You see. Most of us are obsessed with insecurities in this world because we have become lonely. There is no family backup, there is no tribe, there is no... In the West, at least, they have some social welfare. But what do we have? Where is all that previous, if you like, support system? Or anyway. The Quran also tells us about these great, glorious prophets and messengers. And it says all of them, all of the real ones have been acknowledged, and they all said the same thing. At the time they said it, for the people they said it. And Allah Azza wa Jal reminds also the prophets, reminds the great ones. إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ شَاهِدًا وَمُبَشِّرًا وَنَذِيرًا وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا. We've sent you as a witnesser. First we have to witness the outer and the inner. And then after that, give the good news that you are not this animal. You are a divine light. Allah loves you. Allah has created you to know Him. And then if they don't, وَنَذِيرًا, that you will be killing yourself. You will be destroying your potential. You are not rising to that for which you have been created. And if not, وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ, and call that original song that there is only Allah who has created. There's only the purpose of this creation is to know His qualities and be aware of those qualities and avoid their downside, the ego qualities, the lower qualities, the shadows of those qualities. So we have tremendous description of the numerous prophets, and especially the ones mentioned specifically in the Quran, but also many others who are not mentioned. And then we come to the deen. It is a debt upon us. It is the path of coming to life. It is the way of life's transaction. It is not a religion to be simply ritualistically followed. It is to hear it, to know it is true, then to take it upon ourselves to live it. and to be transformed by it. إن الدين عند الله الإسلام وما اختلف الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءهم. Allah says, path to Allah is to submit to Allah, to submit to our incapacities, to submit to our needs which never end, to submit to the truth that we are scared, we are afraid, we need to be reassured, we don't know what death is, we want to be prepared for death. We submit to all of these things, and then we come to have Iman, that we will come to know, I have faith and trust that Allah will guide me. Other people may come and show me, but ultimately Allah is the doer. And then I come to know Ihsan, act in the knowledge that Allah sees you. Everything you do is recorded in your cells. Every cell tells the whole story. And this is called the Qareen. This is within us. And as you grow more and more, you recognize there are other entities in us, like the Raqib, the monitor. Before you accuse others, before you hit the child, the Raqib in you, the monitor in you says, it's not the right time, the fellow will not understand. Don't say it, it's not, and so on. These are all of the other byproducts of opening up the heart, which inshallah you will come to discover that the heart is the ultimate arsh. And what lives on it, what sits on that arsh is the ruh. But the ego and the nafs wants to sit there. I've done it. I've done that. Don't you know I've given charity. I've written a book or whatever. So Allah Azza wa Jal says the path to Allah is submitting to Allah and following Rasulullah. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنين كل آمن بالله والملائكة وكتبه ورسله. So we believe in whatever Allah has created, and we follow in the footstep of those great ones, and the ultimate great of all, the seal of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has encompassed all what went before and given us this package that is usable no matter where and by whoever. It's called Rahmatan lil Alameen. But if we don't live it and get transformed by it and be in total delight and joy and honor whilst we maintain our humility and submission, then others don't want it either. That's why we constantly wonder, why can't we do better da'wah? Most of us are not good enough representatives of the prophetic, if you like, code. So, and لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. Allah will hold us responsible by what we can do. So what is your capacity? When somebody is ill, you say, I have finished. But they carry on. Allah says, you will not be held responsible for more than what you can do. But what is it you can do? Think about it. We only take the easy way out, you see. We always take from the Quran and from the traditions what we like. Very convenient, you see. People who love money and the world, they flog people with a saying from Imam Ali alayhi salam, اعمل لدنياك كأنك تعيش أبدا وأعمل لآخرتك كأنك تموت غدا. Work for your life as though you are going to live forever. Because he's a businessman and loves money, that is his God. So he says, Ali alayhi salam says, work for your life as though you're going to live forever. So that means accumulate. That's what the Westerners have done, because they felt guilty in making money. But Cardinal Wolsey and others relieved them. They said, no, make money, glorify Allah. Build higher building, make more money. So this is all cheating. Who are you trying to bribe? Imam Ali alayhi salam says, have your desires or your work in this world as though you can postpone it. Postpone the worldly matters. You're going to live forever, so don't worry about the next model of a car. Wait for 50 years. And live for your akhirah as though you're going to leave. You're going to die tomorrow. So you become a man of the akhirah, but in this world, not accumulating. We are very clever in twisting our deen. I tell you, it is a tragedy when you really look into it. And so Allah Azza wa Jal reminds us that this deen is about you discovering the presence of Allah no matter where you look. فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا ثَمَّ وَجْهَ اللَّهِ لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will never be of the people of birr. You will never get that final confirmation of presence in your heart until you give that which you want to keep. That's why we are very clever in giving our clothes away. Those which are often either have become too small because I've grown fat, or old-fashioned or whatever. Very generous. Suitcases of clothes in the garage or wherever we are giving away to charity. What about the latest thing you bought? What about the last shirt you love? So it is all about giving that which you want to keep. It is a mental attitude. The meaning is that, as Imam Ali alayhi salam says, لَيْسَ الزُّهْدُ أَنْ لَا تَمْلُكَ أَيُّ شَيْءٍ. Asceticism does not mean you should not own anything. إِنَّمَا الزُّهْدُ أَنْ لَا يَمْلُكُكَ أَيُّ شَيْءٍ. Asceticism means you should not be owned by anything. You want to have a good transport, have a good car. But don't be scratched if the car is scratched. Who owns who? Do you own the house or the house owns you? So that is why the leader is he who is the same when he is in top position and when he is in no position. That's why the majority of business people, soon after they retire or they are chucked out, management buyout or whatever, they get a heart attack. Really is. So you'll be surprised that they actually have a heart, but that's something else. So the issue is for your mind to be free from these attachments, for your heart to shine upon you the light that is in it. But the mind will block it if I am constantly concerned about these outer projects. Then Allah Azza wa Jal gives us the test of the deen. وَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. The condition of your heart, you will know whether it is fully alive and sheds the eternal light upon you. If when you meet somebody who is your enemy, you regard them as friends. That means your heart is not full of hate, full of pus, full of anger, for your own sake. So that is why it is good to forgive. You know the fellow has been abusive, he was a thief, he did you. But for your own sake, go beyond it. Get yourself healed and forget. So as you are alive now, if you don't forget, your half of you is caught in that of the past. We have considerable description of the deen in the Quran. We have magnificent description about how this path is based on perfecting worship. So about ibadat, salat, saum, zakat. How to perfect your worships. So you disappear from the ego, from all other outside interferences into the light. Then we have a lot of the aspects of the deen in the Quran on mu'amalat, relationships between human beings, between us and animals, between husband and wife, between parents, between children, between society, ruled and the rulers. Mu'amalat. Half of our deen is mu'amalat. Then we have quite a lot also in the Quran, the perfection of supplications. So that we ask Allah, Zidni ilma. We ask constantly to ask. Allah wants us to ask. There was an interesting story. It says, why does Allah answers the supplications of the most dreadful people in this world, but the mu'mins have to keep on asking all the time? And it was answered that Allah doesn't want to hear those dreadful people. He gives them immediately what they ask for. But the moment He wants to hear our voice. So don't be surprised. Also, delays are not denials. What you may want will come at a different time because of the sequences are not right. Be patient. But ask. And leave the rest to Allah. It may come also after we depart. We don't know what Allah's ways are. As I mentioned earlier, this business of time is relative. Then we have in the Quran considerable description of nations and cultures and societies, how they have come and how they have gone. وَكَذَلِكَ مَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ فِي قَرْيَةٍ مِنْ نَذِيرٍ إِلَّا قَالَ مُتْرَفِيهَا إِنَّا وَجَدْنَا آبَاءَنَا عَلَىٰ أَمَةٍ وَإِنَّا عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ مُقْتَدُونَ. Allah reminds us and warns us. He says, so many people we sent to, so many messengers we sent to people, But they said, we are following our ancestors. We are doing exactly as they did. Now times change. The outer way of living changes. The inner meaning do not change. We have all come here in a manner that was not sunnah. We came by car or by rickshaw or by whatever, and we were wearing shoes. None of these were sunnah at the time of the Prophet. But what matters is the meaning. We want to be in the right place, in a convenient way. We want to be protected with our feet, because we don't know what bottles and whatever in Karachi pavements have. We want the same things that all human beings want. Good health, good mind, contentment, joyfulness, happiness, trust, good relationship. We're all the same, no matter who we are, what color, what culture, what background. But we tend to be habituated, habitual, our habit. But this is what I found. So we found people quarreling. They are from the same deen, from the same madhab, but the way they make samosas are different. So it's not the same. It's not. There's something wrong. You see that? Go to the inner meaning and be tolerant with the outer manifestations. You find sameness. And watch out that you say, this is how I learned it. How you may have been wrong. Your parents may have been not right. Change your mind. Don't change your inner desire to be desireless. That keep constantly at. Keep all of your desires into one, to be desireless. Don't deny that you may need to have reasonable food, reasonable shelter. These are necessary conditions. And Allah will give it to you. If you are of the right direction, you will be given more than what you can cope with. وَلَوْ يُؤَخِذَ اللَّهَ النَّاسَ بِظُلْمِهِمْ مَا تَرَكَ عَلَيْهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ وَلَكِنْ يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ إِلَى أَجَلٍ مُسَمًّى, etc. Allah says, and if Allah holds us accountable, holds the people accountable to what we are doing, there will be no life left on this earth. So He's postponing our mistakes, our stupidities, our errors. وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ يُهْلِكُ الْقُرَى بِظُلْمٍ وَأَهْلُهَا مُصْلِحُونَ. And Allah will never destroy a people if they are doing their best for islah, for wellness, for goodness. وقال الرسول يا ربي إن قومي اتخذوا هذا القرآن مهجورا. And the Prophet says to Allah, oh my Lord, my people have left behind them this Quran. Mahjura, left in dust. We have more and more beautiful outer Qurans, and probably less and less absorption of it, living it. That's why my advice to all of us is don't be intimidated. Say Bismillah, be on wudu, expect the best, and dive in the Quran. The reason we are complaining and suffering from unacceptable, if you like, face of Muslim misconduct is because each one of us did not take it upon ourselves. We were distracted by other things and we allowed the situation to end up where it is. It's Allah's rahmah. Allah is reminding us we deserve what we are in because we did not do as Allah commands. Yahya, خُذِ الْكِتَابَ بِقُوَّةٍ. Take the book firmly, forcibly. Don't take it lightly.